Welcome, everyone, to A Vacuous Vocation, where we discuss anarchism. And today, I'm going to be discussing heroin and more generally, drugs all around. And to understand the position of anarchist and the libertarian theory regarding drugs, we have to understand property and morality. And beginning with property, John Locke raised the question of who owns you? Do you own yourself? So, why are things like rape, theft, murder bad? That's because these are assaults. They're acts of aggression against other people and their property. And if you own your property, if we can begin that, you have to have ownership of the toothbrush that you use, or the shoes that you use, or anything that you've come to own via exchange, in title transfers, purchasing, or inheritance, or creation, then these forms of property are an extension of your life. You have to own yourself in this world. And what an act of aggression is someone aggressing onto you or your property, committing violence without your approval, your acceptance. That's what an assault is. So, yes, property is you. It's an extension of you. And morality is, in the libertarian theory, something that doesn't violate the non-aggression principle, or NAP. And drug use is not violating the non-aggression principle. There's no act of aggression onto another human or human being. It's a victimless crime, if you will. Consuming drugs is just it's following the logic of owning yourself. If you own yourself, you can use it, you can sell it, you can kill it, you can burn it, you can consume what you will, even if it's poisonous. That's your right if you want to kill yourself, but that's a separate subject. I have a video on suicide if you want to check that out. But when it comes to drugs, Ron Paul at a Republican convention, either in North Carolina or South Carolina, and don't ask me the year, they were discussing drugs, and he said, if heroin was legalized tomorrow, how many of you would go out and use it? And at first the crowd laughed, and then they agreed with him because they saw the idiocy of that position, that just making something illegal, legality does not imply morality. Drugs are winning the war on drugs, and to make it illegal does not deter people from using drugs. People want to get fucked up, but it's better to have people get fucked up safely than not at all. Take prohibition, for example. Each bottle of alcohol that was consumed during the prohibition years in the United States passed through the hands of a mobster. Now think about all the drugs coming from the cartels. Cartels want drugs illegal. You got to really understand that most of what we're taught in schools, and the reality of this, is the complete opposite of what you're taught from the cathedral. That's the corporate press, the governments, and the universities, or the public education system at large. Because it's collectivist and it's Marxist to a degree. It's totalitarian, and drugs aren't bad. Harm is bad. People can do drugs safely. There's doctors that do heroin. And it's better to have people not being sketched out doing it under an alley, under safety, or even measures where they can be looked after. It's very dangerous. And the argument is that, if you legalize drugs, there's going to be more crime. The thing is, it's the cost of drugs that lead these people to commit acts of crime. because drugs are expensive, you go to something like robbing in order to fill your desire to consume more drugs. And so if drugs are something you can get at the store, they'll be in a market environment at a cheaper price than on the black markets. And I don't think drugs are bad. I don't think that because they don't harm anyone. I mean, they harm the user to a degree, but I mean that's the same for alcohol. It's the same for caffeine. Many things are drugs. We have drugs that are legal now, and those are typically run by the pharmaceutical companies. They're the drugs that they lobby to make legal with the FDA and everything. But I think I also have a video on abolishing the FDA. They suck, for many reasons, and again, I think that it's people's decision. Walter Block has the quote, "If you don't know the difference between the bathroom and the living room, don't come to my house." And that's what I'm saying, is I'm not advocating for the use of heroin. What I'm advocating for is not the legalization or illegalization of drugs. I think it's a non-issue, a non-starter. It's just a product that can internally harm you or help you in the ways you think it can. So, drugs being illegal, no. However, there's rules. There's rules in Ancapia where, if you go to Disneyland, they're not gonna let you bring drugs in. Not all the drugs. So there's gonna be places, probably designated areas for drugs. Think of like a Vegas type hotel, casino district where drugs are acceptable. It's not gonna be everywhere. Probably not in people's homes, but not something that people should be put in cages for and have their lives ruined for possessing drugs. That's fucking retarded. And I think that that's just something we're going to look back on because, again, a lot of people don't think about the issues that occur in everyday life, and they don't really have an opinion on it. And if they're told one thing, they'll believe it. So to think that drugs are bad just because, well, they're illegal and you'll go to jail, that's about as far as most people go in thinking about these issues. But it's not until people go free from prison for possession of marijuana that we'll realize how fucked up that was. But this is just something to come in time. And thank you.